Hello friends and welcome. Today we're going to talk about patch 7.32c, which is probably the patch we're going to be playing TI on. I mean, not us, the pros, but I wouldn't really expect another patch, maybe some small fixes. Let's talk about what we're going to see potentially. I mean, it's day one. How much we can predict. It's mostly small nerfs and buffs to like the most popular and least popular heroes. General changes, lots of fixes to small bugs. Don't need to worry about that too much. Item changes. Big thing here is this refresher orb. No longer the cooldown doesn't tick down while it's in your backpack. So a lot of cores would do this like BKB refresher builds, trying to kill that off as much as possible, right? Keeps getting nerfed. So that, and then sometimes you could like put your refresher in the backpack as you fill up more slots, or you just get 6 slotted and then you buy like a backpack refresher to use. Now you can still put it on your courier, send it home, let it gain the cooldown again there, and then bring it back out to you. It's just more steps though. So I don't fully know how this will shift the meta, but what I'm kind of hoping for is that as you enter the late game, carries would just keep farming and buy like 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th items that just kind of sat in your backpack. Now, games don't usually go this late, so it's, not that common. But I feel like when it did happen, that's what you would see. And I really feel that supports have been buffed and other roles too. So not just like supports, but like off lanes and mids have been having a lot of like power compared to like the past where it was like all about the hard carry in the late game. So I'm kind of hoping that as this refresher changes, like please stop buying refresher so much, everyone. Maybe we redistribute the gold to the other roles. So instead of like another 7k backpacked item for a niche value, like you finish 2 medium items on a support who is just sitting on like 2 items at this point or something. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for. I don't even know if I'm hoping for it actually, but I just think that might be what happens. Now, granted, getting to that point where the carry is buying backpack items doesn't happen all that often, but that's what this. I mean, the change is directly, please stop doing this BKB refresher all the time. But like as a side effect, I think you might see teams start redistributing gold a little better as you approach a late game and the carry is like slotted out. It also doesn't overlap with the refresher shard, so you no longer have like 3 copies of the spells anymore, which is too bad. That's kind of funny when that happens. Neutral items, Eye of the Vizier, slight buff. This is very hard for strength and agility heroes to use. Still will be, but 15 is like more manageable. An int hero, just easier to use as well. Slight buff to this item. Neutral creep change, Satyr Mindstealer. The aura is going down a little bit, not the end of the world. The mana burn being changed to be less annoying in the early game. 100 mana constantly was very irritating. 2 times int is not going to be as much in the early game, but it's actually going to scale into the late game. I don't know if anyone's going to play around the late game Satyr Mindstealer, but it is going to be a better ability in the late game. So you got that. For Doom, maybe it's his way to pop Lincolns and then ult, and then it's still like a decent late game, ability in that sense. You can burn off like over 200 mana at once on some heroes, So could be interesting. Hero changes, like I said, it's mostly small buffs and nerfs to anyone not terribly popular. Let's just cover some of the bigger ones. So Bat Rider, not a terribly popular pub hero, but he's pretty good at the pro scene. He just has very oppressive matchups, and the change to him last patch with the sticky napalm doing damage was just really good. So he was just a very strong hero, and he's being nerfed a little bit for that. Bounty Hunter, 3 base damage is not that much in a vacuum, but he keeps getting buffs. His base stats right now are pretty absurd. So I think the only thing holding him back is like a draft issue, because where do you put him, I guess, right? Because you want kills. If you want kills, you need people to set up the kills, which Bounty Hunter really doesn't do. He tracks and he adds damage, but he can't like jump people all that well. He can invis walk up, but that's just one hero. So if he's like, say, the off lane, then your 4 or your mid probably is your initiator. But if your 4 is an initiator, most 4s are melee. So then you have a really weird double melee lane. If you are Bounty Hunter 4, you don't actually offer that much as you roam in between if your invis slow is not that strong. So actually, I kind of wish they had buffed the slow a bit more to make him better at like, that aspect, the utility ganking aspect. Damage suggests core bounty hunter who's going to like sit there in the lane and just win the lane. So maybe we'll see like off lane or carry bounty hunters. I think that could be cool. And just play like a very tempo focused lineup and solve the draft as a pro scene. I don't know how, right? I mean, I guess you just have your mid be an active hero, right? I think Entity could do something with this. They tend to play like semi carries who are very active. I think Bounty Hunter could be a good fit for that, especially with all these buffs to his like stats over time. So he's someone I'm keeping my eye out. Plus, I just like the hero. Other heroes, who else? Chen, super popular. Just kidding, not in the pub scene, but in the pro scene. Just a very good hero. Just all around small nerfs to his stuff. Who else? Dawnbreaker, I think, will still be like a fine hero, but these are some nerfs. Death Prophet, very annoying ranged off-lane hero who has gone in and out of the meta for a bit. Just some all-around nerfs to make her less strong. Because right now her strong point is just like, you have a solid laning stage, and even without that many items, you're pretty hard to kill, and you push the tempo a lot with your ultimate. So, just lots of little nerfs to those regards. I mean, she still kind of does it, but just worse. So we might see her a bit less. I kind of hope so. I don't really love playing against the Death Prophet all that much. I'm kind of bored of it. It's been a couple years at this point. ET, he always comes back every TI, and people were already buying the Shard, especially for core ET. Now you just get 2 reduced seconds. Sure, why not? I hate this Shard as a support player, but sure, buff it. He always comes back every TI, so we'll probably see him. You can try to play him, but again, he's just not very popular pub hero. You have to like ET and learn how to play ET, and then you just have this advantage because no one in pubs fully understands and respects ET. In fact, recent games of mine on stream got slapped around by an ET, right? Even though I know, like, oh, I should respect this, still don't enough because I'm not the ET player. So if you ever want to learn ET, I mean, I think he'll be coming back. You can wait to see if pros actually start picking him. But if you do, just learn him, and you'll always have the advantage over the enemies. Enigma, I like this demonic conversion change. The Eidolons are actually worth a lot of gold. So if demonic conversion, the idea is like, oh, we deny gold and XP from the enemy. But if you can kill the Eidolons, you kind of like even that playing field. Not completely, because Equilibrium will probably still push towards them. You got to have to do other things for that. But in terms of at least gold and XP, if you can kill the early game Eidolons, you're kind of canceling a little bit what Enigma is trying to do. So it's a bit more counterplay for a very popular hero right now. And then just slight reduces to damage and talent stuff. Faceless Void, another very popular hero right now. This 1-point wonder on time dilation that a lot of people were taking, just nerfed. Just about like 30% less damage on that. I don't know if people will still take it. Maybe they'll just skip it to go Q and E now, but maybe they will still just take it and get, a less valuable ability. By the late game, it's still the same damage as before. Great. But that early game fighting for Faceless Void is now nerfed. And this hero's already like, he's one of the late game heroes. So giving him like the ability to fight well in the early game too, gotta have some weaknesses, so I think this is a fine nerf to hopefully bring him down a little bit and make him less annoying as a late game hero. Who else had a major change? Lots of like small stuff. I like this like little base HP region on Lich. I don't know if it's enough to make him meta, but the buff. Who else? Marcy. Marcy's the big hero. I don't know what they're going for. I guess she's just supposed to be a killing support or a core. This is kind of the Monkey King treatment, where the value stun is nerfed a lot. 7 seconds at level 1 is a ton. So the build right now has been to max your E, go phase BKB, and just kill people with your ult. So ult nerfed. The E, that is the same. So technically the same damage output, but your like overall playmaking ability is reduced because you only get maybe 1 rebound in a fight now. Because before 17 seconds, maybe you get to use that twice, 3 times in a fight. At 24 seconds, you're getting it like once to twice. So just a longer cooldown, and you're leaving it at level 1 or 2 if you're maxing E. So you're just getting punished in that regard. But if 1 jump is all you need, then you still technically have the same damage output to kill people. You can't save people with Black Hole and Chrono anymore, which is probably fair. But that was some of the like more support aspects of Marcy, which makes me think like that's why they're pushing her to be like a killing hero more than like a utility save, play around that stuff. which I guess made sense. She has blood on her face in the portrait, right? Who else? Omni, I think will still be fine in pubs. Just nerfs to his laning stage. The value point on Hammer of Purity just being longer. But honestly, outside the laning stage, you don't use Hammer of Purity all that often because you're kind of like positioning back to use your other spells. So I don't think this will be the end of the world. Heavenly Grace being a little worse, oh well. 6 strength is not the. I think it's fine. So still a good pub here in my opinion. Oracle slight buffs. If Omni does drop out, you can play Oracle instead. Oh, my hair is a mess. Wow, look at that. Whatever, we'll leave it. OD. Okay, so we got nerf DP annoying offlaner, buffed OD annoying offlaner. I mean, he can play other roles like mid too, but Meteor OD in the offlane again? Potentially? Maybe? I mean, Astral just 6 seconds off at level 1 just means you can be more annoying at the early game, the early levels, to set the stage right to pick up a fast Meteor Hammer. So we might see some ODs. I don't know. That's just like theory. But I mean, 6 seconds at level 1 is kind of a good amount. PA, slight buff. You'll see her a lot in your pubs regardless of her state, but she is a little better now. What else? Primal Beast, I think, could still be fun. Now that he's in Captain's mode, we're seeing more pro teams play him. Or I guess we're just seeing pro teams play him at all because he wasn't in Captain's mode before. But a little worse. I don't think it's the end of the world. 4 damage. 4 damage is nice, but he still kind of does what he does. So I think this is you can still play him if you like. Who else has a major change? All these are like smaller ones. Shadow Demon, sorry, always comes back every TI as well. This is small buffs to his kit. We might see him picked up a little bit. Shadow Fiend, I was seeing him get a lot more solo kills now that this slow is in the game. 12 seconds or 12% still a decent slow, but a little, less than 15, so maybe you won't get solo kills all the time. Silencer could have a cool resurgence potentially. Base armor, invincible. But then this instant burst on his Q, first as a support, makes it easier to stack. You can maybe go for range creeps. 40 damage is not a lot, but 2 heroes clump up. They're going for the deny, so you hit both of them with more damage. It's just literally free damage, right? So you damage them, and maybe you get a range creep every now and then with the 40 damage. Maybe by leveled up a couple times in the laning stage, 60, 80. It's a little more feasible. So just free damage, cancel blinks, stuff like that. It's a decent cast range. So could be cool. Could push towards core silencer. I don't know, because it's just 100 extra damage towards his wave clear, plus the damage it does on its own, and his other just auto attacks and stuff, which is usually core silencer's issue is just terrible farming speed. So 100 more damage towards that, still worse than others, but better than before. So with the buff and armor and the current state of the mid lane, which is just very annoying mid heroes because farming is reduced now that the small camp's gone. It's a lot more about lane dominators, and silencer in the right matchups is really strong and will now farm a little better. So maybe some mid silencer potentially. Max value Bash of the Deep at level 1's pretty cool. I don't know if it's a major change though, but I think he was already in a decent state, so we might see him more too. Might catch more people off guard with this extra, essentially 30% stun, right, at level 1. So pretty value there. Slark, slight nerfs. Tide comes back. Who else? Undying. 100 mana now for decay at all levels. Pretty painful. Undying's a pretty smart zombie though, so he has a good mana pool. It's just, it's a nerf, right? It is what it is. Particularly in the laning stage, because as you get to the mid to late game, Undying doesn't really get the chance to decay all that often anyways. You're more about your other spells. But it's this early game where you would mango, you probably leave decay at level 1. You would mango and have a little bit extra mana so that over the course of several mangoes, you get another spell for free. But now each mango is literally 1 decay. So it's going to hurt him a little bit, make it harder to use all his spells. Tombstone also got nerfed a bit. This was what led to a lot of early game kills for Undying. So that is now worse. And then Undying is supposed to be strongest in the early game, right? So if you're hurting there, then the rest of your game, although decay ends up being the same at the end, I mean, this is a nerf straight up, but like, you know, his just mid to late game will be a little bit worse than it was before, anyways. Someone who got the reverse treatment, though, 30 mana off of Venomous Gale. That's a lot of mana. Might try it. I just like Venomancer. I don't know, 4 or 5. I'll try it and let you guys know. We'll see when I get around to that. But I mean, this is a lot cheaper now. So he was not able to cast this all that often before this, but now you could with like just one manga. You probably have like 4 or 5 Venomous Gale casts before you're out of mana. So that could be good. This is a pretty annoying spell. The slow is really strong, allows you to get in a lot of auto attacks, especially if you're playing with your offlaner. So, or carry potentially if you're like 5 Venom. I'm not sure where he'll be, but that could be cool. Viper nerfed, more like ranged offlaners who are annoying. Visage, here's another one, right? Just straight all around nerfs. Visage is a very high win rate, so I think he deserves all these nerfs. Put a couple more in because it's not fun. I don't like dealing with it. Those birds kill me everywhere. Nerf him. Who else? Warlock, Wind Ranger, Wraith King. All small changes here. Okay, that is it. I don't think I have anything else to say. So, like I said, I don't know if you'll really see that much difference in your pubs besides these small changes, but your late games might be a little different with this refresher change, or at least the pro scene, where you see more of this like BKB refresher stuff. That should probably drop off a little bit, which could have bigger implications on the meta, but it's kind of hard to say on day one, couple hours into the patch, right? So we'll see, and I will share any insights I find along the way. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.